So the stats are in. 38% of marriages, first marriages fail. 60% of second marriages fail. And 78% of third marriages fail. Welcome, guys, to my podcast, the I Am Unafraid podcast, where I speak about life, love, and healing from a very authentic, or I try to be from a very authentic and unafraid position. So before I get into it, please like and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, let's get right to it. So why am I talking about statistics of failure in marriages? I recently had this conversation with a gentleman. I think he watched a previous podcast of mine, I think on unconditional love. If you haven't watched it, please go and watch it. And in that podcast, I was talking about the fact that I am not really sure that I had really understood what unconditional love is. Before I thought that unconditional love was based on the fact that you love somebody selflessly with abandon and you give them everything that, But sometimes that's not love. That's maybe, it could be manipulation. You give somebody everything because you want something in return. I think unconditional love is love that has no expectation. This is very theoretical, by the way, because when you're in a relationship, you're going to expect things. I also want to put a disclaimer right now and just say all relationships are transactional. All of them. I don't think there's any relationship out there that somebody does not expect there to be an exchange. Okay? So let's be clear on that. So expectations are natural. However, when we are talking about love in relationships of any kind, unconditional love really talks about, not really talks about, but I think now where I am now. Limit your expectations of the other person and work on yourself. I think we go into relationships expecting our partners to be a certain way, but we forget that we too have to be a certain way. It takes two to tango. So let me give you an example. I am generally introverted. Generally, I like to keep to myself. I enjoy my company, but there are those moments when I want to interact with other people and things like that. But what I am learning is that I think my introversion has come from me trying to protect myself, and me being uncomfortable in spaces, because most of the time when I'm in those spaces, I'm unable to show up authentically. So what happens is, because I'm unable to show up authentically as an introvert, because we are humans, we need to be authentic. We can't always be acting or trying to put up a front or trying to be something you're not. So as an introvert, sometimes I feel like I need to withdraw so that I can go to my space, come back to my home where I feel like I'm myself, right? So really, sometimes I question the fact about, am I really an introvert, or is it that I've not learned to be authentic in public spaces? So that's something. Now, why I'm raising that is because as introverts, especially as introverts, I think extroverts do a better job of not having expectations of people, because they know how to take care of their joy and their happiness. Sometimes as introverts, we tend to rely on other people or our external spaces to find joy. That's a bit of a harsh truth to admit, but I had to admit it at some point. And so we have very high expectations of people and things. So I was having a conversation with somebody who he watched my podcast and he called me. I hadn't talked to him in years. Like, I can't even really say that I know him that well, but we were once in a different space together for a couple of years, and then of course life happened, and then life happened. We went our separate lives, led our separate lives, and he got married, but now he's divorced. And when he called me, and I was, first of all, I was surprised, and then he started opening up, and he talked about his situation and all that he's been through, and how he's been working on himself to become a better man, and how he plans to remarry in future. And I was really impressed, because I was like, wow. What I found is that a lot of the time, society has put a lot of pressure on women to work on themselves. I could be biased, but I feel like society has really made women, I mean, if you think about it, it's women who attend conferences. I don't have the stats, but most conferences, networking events, business events, a lot of the times they are women compared to the men. If it's a relational conference, it will be the women. Even a business conference, it will be more women than men. So women, by nature of the fact that, I don't want to say that we are born disadvantaged, but because we are born in a patriarchal society, especially in the African context, we find that we come out behind of the man, and we have to kind of fight for our space, our voice, our opportunities, and things like that. So because of that drive, then we end up finding ourselves going to these events that are about building us up and helping us to become better people. So by nature, we end up being very strong personalities, and we have worked on ourselves vis-a-vis the men. Now the men, I'm sure there are men who are listening to this and will be like, no, Lillian, but really, let's be real. I feel like sometimes I always joke and I say, if reincarnation is real, I'd really love to come back as a man, because honestly, men have it nice. Anyway, back to the topic. I'm digressing. So we're having this conversation with this guy, and he made a really awesome observation that I thought I should share with my community here, my unafraid community. And he said something like, he thought about it, that when he was married, he's fine, he's divorced now, but he really wondered if, had he married someone different, would he still be married? I don't know if you guys are understanding what I'm saying. This man is divorced now, and he's done the self-work, he's gone through therapy, he's worked on himself, and he's asking himself the question, if he had married another woman and not his past wife, would that woman he'd marry, would he still be married to them? I don't know if you guys are understanding that question. Put a different way, slightly different way, maybe in my own context. Having been in different relationships, not too many, but I can count them. Having been in those relationships where I know this is my boyfriend and whatnot, if I had dated, when you leave a relationship, or people who've left their relationships, and you look back and you're like, the reason I left this relationship is because this guy was a cheat, he was a liar, he was lazy, he was unambitious, he was broke. All those reasons we give for leaving our partners. And if it's a chick, maybe she was lazy, she never used to cook for me. If you're a guy, those are things you're saying, or she was disrespectful to me as a man. I want you to dial it back and ask yourself this question very candidly. If you are given another spouse, are you telling me, or another girlfriend or another boyfriend, not the one you left or left you, are you telling me that you would have had a successful relationship with this person? I asked myself that question as well, and I was like, I don't think so. And here's why. This is me. I'm not going to impose my opinion on you, but this is me. The relationships ended because of both of us, right? We were both not grown, or we both had our insecurities, or we both had our issues. Fair enough. But when I look back, I was not grown enough. In some cases, I wasn't mature enough. I had my own expectations of what a relationship was because nobody taught me about what a relationship was, a successful relationship looks like. So if I didn't know what a successful relationship looked up like, or how I am supposed to show up in a successful relationship, how was I expecting to have a successful relationship with anyone, let alone the guy that I have left or has left me? Okay, so guys, this is the question I want you guys to honestly ask yourselves, because I know people who are in relationships or have left relationships. I know myself, I've left relationships, and they're unhappy, and they're in the space of this person did A, B, C, D, and he's not responsible or she's not responsible. But if you had another man, the way you are right now, like this, would you succeed? I don't think the answer would be yes. And this is why. If you don't work on yourself, if you don't self-improve, if you don't self-introspect, if you don't do an internal audit of your character, of your shenanigans, how do you expect to meet somebody and succeed in that next relationship? So guys have asked me, Lillian, you've been single for so long. It's been a couple of years. I honestly don't even remember. I don't know how it is to be in a relationship. That's really funny, but yeah. So if I even get into a relationship, I'm sure it'll be so awkward in the beginning. I'll be like, wow, I have a boyfriend. Wow, I have a man. But in those years, I have deliberately worked on myself, because I realized that being in multiple relationships, who is the SI unit? Because I'm dating different people, for example. Who is the SI unit of my broken relationships? It is me. So if I am the SI unit of these broken relationships, now I am not blaming myself for the relationships failing, but I am taking responsibility and saying that there is something about me that is either attracting the same kind of partners or has not learned something from my past relationships. So for me, I'm still in the phase of continuing to work on myself and becoming better and better. And I just thought to share that conversation I had with my friend, because I was blown away that it was coming from a man. Because usually we have these conversations amongst my fellow women. I rarely hear men talking about this fact that they need to improve. It's always that they're talking about their women were like this and that. So that it came from a man. And he actually questioned himself and said, I don't think I would have been a better husband to another woman, irrespective of whether his ex-wife was a bad person or not. I thought that was profound, and I just wanted to share it with my Unafraid community. So please like and subscribe, guys. Please let me know your thoughts on that. Honestly, let me know your thoughts on that. And because like I keep saying, this podcast is about life, love, and healing. And for us to grow and become the best version of ourselves, we really need to be honest and unafraid about the conversations that we have around these issues. So yeah, thank you guys, and see you soon. Bye.